Hello friends, in this video we are going to discuss the recent 23rd annual summit between India and Russia, for which President Putin had come to India. And now let us see what were the key highlights of this annual summit, and also let us look briefly into India-Russia relations since 1947. Here you can see the map of Russia. Russia is the world's largest country. It accounts for 11% of the world's total land mass. And it is also in Asia as well as Europe. So that is why Russia is known as a Eurasian country. India-Russia relationship is based largely on defense partnership. And here we have the S-400 Triumph air defense system, which we have purchased from Russia. And it has been named as Sudarshan Chakra by India. Right. And in fact, this name is now also being used by Russia in its briefings. BrahMos supersonic cruise missiles. So they are also an example of India-Russia joint development, joint production in defense technology. Another example of co-production in defense is AK-203 assault rifles, which are being jointly manufactured by a joint venture of India and Russia in Uttar Pradesh. Right. So Russia is world's largest country. It accounts for 11% of the world's landmass. The population of Russia is 14.5 crores. And if we multiply it by 10, then we get the population of India, which is around 145 crores, right? So our population is around 10 times the population of Russia. Russia is also endowed with vast natural resources, and the GDP of Russia is around $2.54 trillion. Right. So Russia is a very important partner for India. Now, when we look at India-Russia relationship, so it can be seen in two phases basically. So one phase is from 1947 till 1991, and that time the relationship was with USSR. USSR came into existence in 1922, and it disintegrated finally in 1991. So its lifespan was around 69 years. Now, the Indian leaders during our freedom struggle were inspired by USSR, and that is why we adopted the planned economic model based on the Soviet model of economy. Right, and USSR helped India in UN Security Council also, using its veto power whenever US and other countries brought up the Kashmir issue at the behest of Pakistan. So USSR remained a trusted and reliable friend for India throughout. So India was non-aligned through this period, 1947 to 1991. India was non-aligned, but definitely we had a tilt towards USSR. So we shared a very close relationship with USSR during this period, even though we remained non-aligned in principle. And especially one of the important places where we can see this was the 1971 war, which we fought with Pakistan, in which there was China, Pakistan, US nexus. And to counter this, India and USSR signed a treaty of peace, friendship, and cooperation. And under this treaty, it was stated that both USSR and India will come to each other's help if they will be attacked by any other country. So this treaty basically ensured that both China and US will not openly support Pakistan in a war with India. So that was what we did, and this was a treaty that we signed with USSR for 20 years. But unfortunately, USSR collapsed in 1991, and it was a big shock for India. And after that, our relationship took a different turn, because for the period 1991 to 2000, Russia was also in a position not to offer any help to India, because it was itself looking for help and support from the Western countries. And similarly, India was also facing a severe balance of payment crisis during this period. So both India and Russia, they were in difficulty for the period 1991 to 2000. So Russia was looking towards West for help, and India was also facing a severe balance of payment crisis, and also a political turbulence within India and political instability, right? So it was not a good time for both India and Russia. And during this time, India also had huge dependency in its defense requirements over USSR. But USSR was no longer there, and the successor state of Russia was also not in a position to help India. That is why from this time onwards, India tried to diversify its defense suppliers also. And that is why India recognized Israel in 1992 and established full diplomatic relations with Israel. So we established full diplomatic relations with Israel. Israel in 1992, right? Because of two reasons mainly. Israel being a close US ally, we wanted to get close to US because now it was a unipolar world. USSR had disintegrated, so we had to improve our relations with US, and also because we wanted to look for new defense suppliers, and Israel was good at defense manufacturing. So these were the two reasons why we opted for this recognition or full diplomatic relations with Israel. Israel had come into existence in 1948, but India had recognized Israel only in 1950. But we did not establish full diplomatic relations. That we did only in 1992, based on these two reasons, that Israel was a close US ally, and also we needed to diversify our defense supply sources. So these were the reasons why India and Russia did not have that great equation during this period 1991 to 2000. The situation started changing after the advent of Vladimir Putin as president of Russia. President of Russia in the year 2000. And from this time onwards, what happened was Russia started to reclaim its position in the world politics. And by this time, Russia had become more confident of itself. It wanted to use its vast natural resources to regain its power and influence in world politics. And by this time, India had also undergone the LPG reforms of 1991, and India had emerged as a major economic force, or India had started to emerge as a major economic force and major economic market. So both Russia and India, when they again met in 2000, it was a more confident Russia and a more confident India. And this time when we started our friendship, it was a friendship between equals. Earlier, the friendship between India and USSR was always a friendship of giver and taker. So India was the taker and USSR was the giver. No doubt we had a good friendship, but yes, it was a give and take relationship, whereas now it was an equal partnership that we forged in the year 2000. And then Russia helped India in getting membership of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and also India and Russia became part of the BRICS grouping, which took shape by the year 2010. So our relationship started improving, and by the year 2008, India became the largest defense buyer of Russian defense equipments, overtaking China. By the year 2016, India entered into the purchase agreement for S-400 Triumph air defense system. We also upgraded our strategic partnership into strategic, special and privileged strategic partnership in the year 2010. Strategic partnership in the year 2010. But we had entered into strategic partnership in the year 2000 itself, right? So the strategic partnership was started in the year 2000, but in the year 2010 we elevated it to special and privileged strategic partnership. So this is also important and can be asked in exam. Then we also went for a 2+2 dialogue, right? 2+2 format dialogue, which is also very important because we have it with very few countries, and Russia is one of those countries. So let me also tell you what is the 2+2 format dialogue. So 2+2 format dialogue basically means that our foreign minister and our defense minister, they meet with their counterparts. Counterparts from other countries. So this shows a very deep level of relationship, and India has this 2+2 format dialogue with very few countries. So we have this with all our Quad partners, which includes US, Japan, Australia. Then we are having it with Russia, right? Then we have it with Brazil, and we also have it with UK. But with UK, we are having it at secretary level. The remaining 2+2 dialogues we have at the ministerial level, right? So we can see that we have total 2+2 format dialogue with 6 countries as of now, and out of this 5 are at ministerial level and only 1 is at the secretary level, that is with UK, right? So now let's come back to our discussion of India-Russia relationship. So the relationship has gone from strength to strength, but it can be basically seen in 2 phases. So that I have discussed with you. So the relationship from 1947 to 1991 was based on mutual goodwill and political trust. And post 1991, the period till 2000, the relationship remained little bit indifferent because Russia was also not in a good position. It was looking towards West for help, and India was also facing a balance of payment crisis and also political disturbance and instability. But from the year 2000, things started improving and there was a qualitative change in relationship after the coming on the scene of President Putin. Now, if we talk about India-Russia relationship, we can say that it is a reliable and type-tested partnership. We also have a very robust defense partnership. Even now, we have 50% of our defense equipment which is of Russian origin. Now, we also have complementary strength in the sense that Russia is big energy producer and India is big energy consumer. Also, the partnership between India and Russia, it has evolved from a strategic partnership which we entered in the year 2000, and now we are celebrating 25 years of it. And in 2010, we have elevated it to Special and Privileged Strategic Partnership, SPSP. Now let's come to the recent event, which is the visit of President Putin. So President Putin has visited India for the 23rd India-Russia Annual Summit, and there was very interesting word which was used by Prime Minister Modi during this visit, and he actually greeted President Putin with a word which is called as Dobry Den, right? Dobry Den. So he used the word Dobry Den. So Prime Minister Modi greeted President Putin with this word Dobry Den, and it means good day in Russian, right? So little bit of Russian we can also learn. It means good day in Russian, Dobry Den, right? So these are small touches which are very important in diplomacy, and Prime Minister Modi received President Putin from the airport, which was also a break in the protocol, and from there they traveled together in the White Fortuner, which became very famous and covered by all the news agencies also, right? So President Putin had come to India for the very first time after the start of the Russia-Ukraine conflict in 2022, and he had come for the 23rd India-Russia Annual Summit. We are also celebrating this year the 25th anniversary of our strategic partnership, which was initiated in the year 2000, and we elevated it to special and privileged strategic partnership in the year 2010. Now, the timing of the visit is also significant because of two reasons. First one is, it was the first visit of President Putin after the start of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and secondly, because of the tariff pressure on India by US, because India is purchasing discounted Russian oil since the conflict started. So there have been sanctions imposed on Russia, and the US and other Western countries, they do not want India to purchase discounted Russian oil from Russia, because then it will put extra pressure on Russia. But India is saying that we are following our national interests based on strategic autonomy, and India has also accused the Western countries of double standards because they continue to buy Russian oil and gas. So that is what India's stand is. Right. Let's look at the key highlights of the visit. So first of all, both sides decided to revise the target of trade to $100 billion by 2030, right? And this trade was actually at a very low level, but it has increased to, at present it is around $67 billion, and it is largely because of the discounted Russian oil that India has been purchasing. Otherwise, the trade was languishing somewhere around $10 billion only. Right. Otherwise, the normal figure was around $10 billion. So it is all because of the discounted Russian oil, and India has a huge trade deficit of just around $56 billion, right? So India has a huge trade deficit because Russia does not purchase much commodities from India, and it is only India which is importing the discounted Russian oil at a very large quantity. So first thing is that the trade target has been revised to $100 billion by 2030. Second is, both sides have signed agreements which will allow for the mobility of Indian workers, both semi-skilled and skilled workers, to Russia. And we already have seen the difference in population. India's population is 10 times the population of Russia. So Russia needs these workers, and India is in a position to supply that. So it is again a win-win for both sides. Then third point is, India will open new consulates at Yekaterinburg and Kazan, right? So these two places, India will open its consulates. Consulates are just like embassies, but they are lower in hierarchy to the embassies. So we have the embassies, and for very specific purpose, for example, for issuing visa or for a very limited purpose, the consulates are built in other places other than the capital. In the capital city, we will have the embassy, and in other major cities, we can have the consulates. So India has decided to open two new consulates at Yekaterinburg and Kazan. So let me show you the location of these places in map, because sometimes it is asked in exam. So here in this map, we can see the location of Moscow, which is on the western side of Russia, right? This is the separation that we have of the Ural Mountains, separating the Asian part of Russia and the Eurasian or the European part of Russia, right? The Asia-Europe divide. So here we have Yekaterinburg, that is on the Asian side, and Kazan is located here, right? And very important place, St. Petersburg, it is located here, right? So these are some important places that we need to keep in mind. So India is going to open two new consulates at Yekaterinburg and Kazan. In fact, last year's BRICS summit, the 2024 BRICS summit was held at Kazan only. Right. Next point that we need to focus on is about the MOU that has been signed, Memorandum of Understanding on training of Indian specialists for polar water navigation, right? So why this is important? Because due to climate change, the polar waters, they are becoming more navigable, and that is why India is also interested in that area, and Russia is going to provide us help in training our specialists for this polar water navigation. The fifth point is Russian Duma. Russian Duma means the parliament, right? For our parliament is known as Sansad. Similarly, the Russian parliament is known as Duma. So Russian Duma has ratified the reciprocal exchange of logistics support agreement, RELAWS, right? So this has been ratified or approved by the Russian parliament. What is the reciprocal logistics exchange agreement? Reciprocal exchange of logistics support agreement, RELAWS. So here we should know that this agreement will actually allow India and Russia to take or to make use of each other's military bases for refueling, repairs and replenishment. So suppose a Russian ship is in the Indian waters and it needs refueling. So it does not have to go back to Russia. It can come to the Indian bases and it can get the refueling done, right? Similarly for Indian ships in Russian waters. So it increases the power projection of both sides. Also, India has these logistics agreements with other countries also. So India's logistics agreements with its Quad partners, right? So with US we are having what is known as LEMOA, which is logistics exchange memorandum of agreement. Then with Japan we have AXA, which is acquisition and cross servicing agreement. Then with Australia we have MLSA, which is mutual logistics support agreement. Right. So we are having these logistics agreements with our Quad partners as well, and now we are going to have it with Russia as well, RELAWS. So this is very important. The RELAWS agreement, which has been approved by the Russian Duma, reciprocal exchange of logistics support agreement, right? We already have it with US LEMOA, Japan AXA and Australia MLSA, which is mutual logistics support agreement, right? So these were the important things or the key highlights of the 23rd India Russia annual summit. One more thing, both sides decided that they will enhance their cooperation in the civil nuclear field. So already Russia has helped India in setting up the Kudankulam nuclear power plant, which is in Tamil Nadu. Right? So this is located in Tamil Nadu, and Russia has confirmed to India that it will provide more units for this Kudankulam nuclear power plant, which is in Tamil Nadu. Right. Now, another interesting part of this visit by President Putin was that he was gifted some unique cultural items by Prime Minister Modi, which reflects India's rich culture and tradition. So these were basically the items, and this was a silver crafted handicraft, handcrafted horse from Maharashtra. Then he was also given the Assam tea and a silver tea set from Bengal, a handcrafted chess, marble chess set from Agra in Uttar Pradesh, and sorry, this is saffron, right? So Kashmiri saffron was also given to him. The tea, Assam tea was also given, and a Russian language version of Bhagavad Gita was also presented to President Putin. Let me take you through this one by one. So a copy of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in Russian was presented to President Putin by Prime Minister Modi. A Bengal tea set, which is of Murshidabad, silver tea set was given to him. Then Kashmiri saffron, right? Kashmiri saffron is very important. It was gifted to by Prime Minister Modi to Russian President. And this saffron, Kashmiri saffron, is also known as Kashmiri Zafran, right? It is also known as Zafran or Kong, right? So it is known by these two names. So we should remember it. Zafran or Kong can be asked in exam. And Kashmiri saffron also has a GI tag. It has been given a GI tag in 2020. Then UP stonework handcrafted marble chess set was given to President Putin. And also this Maharashtra handicraft, the handcrafted silver horse. Assam tea, very, very important. It was given to President Putin, and Assam tea also has a GI tag from 2007. So these were the important gift items given to President Putin by the Prime Minister Modi. Right. Now let's come finally to a question where you can test how much you have understood. So the question is, consider the statements given below and identify which of them are correct. So three statements are given. First statement is, India and Russia are celebrating 25 years of their strategic partnership in 2025. Statement number 2 is, the logistics agreement between India and Russia is known as Mutual Logistics Support Agreement, MLSA. Third statement is, Kudankulam nuclear power plant set up with Russian cooperation is located in Tamil Nadu, TN. Option A is 1 and 2 are correct, B is 2 and 3 are correct, option C is 1 and 3 are correct, option D is 1, 2 and 3 are correct. So please write down your answers in the comment section. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.